Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's like week 12. I'm seeing the end of it.
I know. I know. So close. Oh man.
So, let's see.
Are you up first this week?
Yes, I did have, let's see. Um, week 12. Yes, I had the first chapter 23.
Okay.
So, list the organs of the male reproductive system and give the function of each. So, for the primary organ, I have the testes. They produce sperm and secrete the male hormone testosterone. Then we have secondary organs with a system of ducts. I have the epididymis, the ductus deferens or vas deferens, and the ejaculatory duct. So they receive immature sperm from the testes, and their function is to develop immature dead sperm, and they house the mature sperm too. For the vas deferens, those ducts provide a pathway for sperm to travel from the epididymis or epididymis, I don't know how to pronounce it, to the urethra. And the ejaculatory duct empties into the urethra. Those were for the ducts. Then I have glands. I have the seminal vesicles that secrete the fluid into the ejaculatory duct, which nourishes and ensures that sperm motility. I have the prostate gland that secretes the fluid into the urethra, which adds volume to semen and enhances sperm motility. And I have the bulbourethral glands that secrete a fluid in the penile portion of the urethra, and they act as a lubricant and also neutralize the acidity, so it wouldn't harm the sperm. And the last one was the penis, which deposits sperm in the female vagina. Did you have any question, or let's see, trying to see if I went over all. Did you have more secondary organs?
No, I think I had about the same as you. You might have had one more than me.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I got. Okay. So for the female primary organs, we have the ovaries that produce ova. And for the accessory organs, I have the fallopian tubes, the uterus and vagina. The fallopian tubes are the site for egg fertilization. The uterus houses and nourishes the embryo. The vagina is a receptacle for the penis and sperm. It's also a route for this discharge of menstrual blood, and it's the passageway for the birth of a baby. I also have, let's see, accessory glands. We have the lesser vestibular glands that provide lubrication. Greater vestibular glands do the same thing. Did I have more? I only had 2 glands. Did you have more? I thought I had more.
I actually didn't have the glands included there.
Okay. Greater. Oh, well, that's what I saw. And then did you add the external genitalia too? I wasn't sure.
I didn't for this one. I wasn't sure if we needed to, so I opted out.
Yeah, I'll just skip that portion then, because they don't really, well, there's, I guess they just protect the urethra and vagina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will not add them. Okay, that's what I got.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. Okay, so I have, let's see, next question. Describe a female reproductive cycle. Okay, so there are two parts, the ovarian and the menstrual.
Mm-hmm.
And the ovarian is governed by the FSH and LH. So I have a whole set of steps here. First, low levels of progesterone and estrogen stimulate the hypothalamus to release GnRH, which in turn stimulates the anterior pituitary to release the FSH and LH. And the FSH then triggers the follicular phase, where several of the follicles in the ovary resume development. Usually only one follicle makes it to maturity. Then estrogen is secreted as the follicle develops, which stimulates the thickening of the endometrium of the uterus, and progesterone is also secreted. Then as the follicle matures, it migrates to the surface of the ovary. That mature follicle is called a Graafian follicle. So mid-cycle, estrogen levels peak, which causes a spike in LH. And that in turn ruptures the follicle and releases the ovum. So that's ovulation there. And then the fimbriae of the fallopian tube, I guess they kind of look like tentacles that are near the ovaries. They sweep across and they collect the ovum, and remnants of the follicle that ruptured remains on the ovary, and it forms the corpus luteum, which secretes basically large amounts of progesterone and a little bit of estrogen. And the progesterone stimulates the uterus to thicken more, become more vascular, basically to prepare for pregnancy. And high levels of estrogen and progesterone inhibit the secretion of FSH and LH so that no more follicles develop, or no more eggs, I guess, come out. So let's see. If fertilization does not occur, then the corpus luteum degenerates into inactive scar tissue, and the estrogen and progesterone levels lower, causing the endometrium to slough off for menstruation. And the decline of ovarian hormones causes FSH levels to rise as the pituitary gland is no longer inhibited, and the new cycle begins. There, nice and long.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
No, you went through all the steps.
Okay. Then I've got the menstrual cycle, which this one says it's influenced by estrogen and progesterone. Mm-hmm. So there are different phases. I've got 4. The first one, the menstrual phase, is day about 1 to 5. And that it starts on the first day of noticeable vaginal bleeding. Typically lasts for 3 to 5 days. It's basically the endometrium shedding. And then there's the proliferation phase. And that is at the end of menstruation, so about day 6-ish. So at this point, just the base layer of the endometrium remains, as everything else is sloughed off. And rising levels of estrogen will stimulate repair of the base layer and growth of blood vessels. Basically, the endometrium starts to thicken again. It gets to about 2 to 3 millimeters. The third phase is the secretory phase, about day 15 to 26. So after ovulation, increased progesterone from corpus luteum causes further thickening of the functional layer, and the endometrium develops into a nutritious bed, about 5 to 6 millimeters thick. And then there is the fourth phase, which is premenstrual, about day 26 to 28. If fertilization didn't occur, the corpus luteum atrophies, progesterone drops, blood vessels that feed the endometrium spasm and disrupt blood flow, and the endometrium becomes ischemic and necrotic, and the uterine wall sloughs off, and the menstrual flow begins, and it starts all over. And that's all I've got.
Well, you did have, now that I'm looking, you have a lot. Sometimes those questions, you never know.
I know. I basically wrote the book there. But I never know what they're going to test us on. I always feel like I study so well, and then there's like these little details that I didn't get, and I'm like, oh,
I agree. And those details are not even, like, there are those sites bars, like those fast facts or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
On life.
Yeah. Okay.
And this week he did not give us, usually he give us, well, I've seen those last 2 or 3 weeks, he's given us those, during the announcements, he will add some documents, which then he ends up asking us about. He didn't do any this week.
Maybe that's my problem. I don't read those.
Well, he doesn't. He uses other things too, but it seems like the picture that he adds to his announcements, he used a lot of it for the study.
Oh, okay, like the PowerPoint. Okay, like the PowerPoint with the picture.
Which is pretty much the book, except he took out those words, so you just have to guess. It's like a study guide. But he didn't do anyone for this week, and it seems like there's a lot to remember.
Oh, I have one more question. I was totally thinking that was the last one. It was so long.
Well, yeah, I know. Sorry, you had a lot to.
Let's see. Okay, sorry. So describe the process of fertilization, including when and where. Okay. Sorry, I almost forgot about that. Okay, this one's a little shorter. So, sperm enters the reproductive tract after ejaculation. It travels to the fallopian tubes, meets with a mature egg. Let's see. Well, I included this here. I don't know if we needed it, but I included ejaculation releases about 100 million sperm, but only a few thousand make it, just because of the acidity of the vagina and the white blood cells of the uterus that kill off a lot. And some don't make it through cervical mucus. But sperm can survive for 6 days, and egg can survive for 24 hours. And it takes 72 hours for the egg to reach the uterus. So fertilization often occurs in the distal third of the fallopian tubes. And then it says hundreds of sperm swarm the eggs. And where the acrosomes of the sperm heads release enzymes. Oh, this is where the acrosomes of the sperm heads release enzymes to break down the cells. And the zona pellucida, I don't know how to say that. So the efforts of, I guess, all these sperms open a pathway through this zona pellucida for one sperm. And when this happens, the egg undergoes a change to prevent more sperm from entering. And the nucleus of the sperm is released into the ovum. And the tail of the sperm degenerates and falls away. And the nucleus of the sperm fuses with the egg and create a single cell with 46 chromosomes. And that fertilized egg is called a zygote. And that's all she wrote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm really done now. Okay. I'm confused. I'm looking at next week. I see chapter 25 and then
Evolution. Is it part of the textbook? Well, it must be. But they don't take a chapter. Let's see. And I think that's the last one. Yeah, because I don't see one for week 14.
Do we meet in week 14 at all, or is it kind of just
I
study week?
I think it's just a study for the final.
Okay.
Let me see quickly.
Overview, practice exam, review, final exam. Okay, yeah. Looks like we don't meet that week.
Yeah, we'll just have the final to prepare for.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a video. Oh, that's a website for evolution. You'll have to go on.
Okay.
Let's see. So, did you have a preference?
Not really. Do you?
No. There are 3 questions, but like I said, you did a lot today, so I don't know. I'm trying to read this question, which one are the longest, but then
it's hard to tell how long it's going to be until we start reading, because I always think it's a short question, and then I get going and I'm like, wow, there is more than I thought.
That's true. Well, I could do the 3 last for the evolution if you want.
Okay, I'll take the 3 first then. Sounds good. All right. Is there anything else we needed to do?
I don't know, because I don't have the memory. I don't think we never did the memory aids.
Yeah. Do we have a memory aid thing this week? I thought it was just.
Yeah, we do have one for this week.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I was just seeing the discussion applicable articles thing. I haven't done that yet. Okay. Okay. We're probably good to go.
All right. See you next week. Are you still good to meet at the same time next week?
Yep. You?
Okay. Me too. Well, sounds good. Good night.
Night. I mean, good afternoon. Or morning.
Yes, morning. I'm morning.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.